Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
So I want to identify in this brief talk at least 3 categories of Muslims that we have to be aware of. Of course, we're all one ummah, inna hadhihi ummatukum ummatan wahida, but it's good to understand segments within the ummah. And the way I would like to divide these segments today is by way of their relationship with Islam. So, like if you think of Muslims not by their ethnicity or by their school of thought, but you think of a Muslim in terms of their relationship with Islam, I'm going to offer you 3 categories. So the first category, and I think the most important category, I like to call them Muslims on the edge. Muslims on the edge. So this is inspired by an ayah, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ. Right? So among people, there's somebody who worships Allah on the very edge. So these are Muslims that they may be born in a Muslim family, they may have been raised in a Muslim family, but they are very much a part of the modern world. And many of their ideas have been influenced by university, media, business, the outside world, to the point where their connection with Islam is reduced to my parents are Muslim, or we have Eid, or in Ramadan I'm not supposed to eat in front of my mother, or something. Like their relationship with Islam has been reduced to almost nothing, but they still identify themselves as Muslim. A lot of their practices, a lot of their life priorities, life habits, they don't seem to be corresponding to Islam. And this is similar to, there are lots of Christians in the world who identify themselves as Christian, but only in the sense that they belong to the Christian civilization. So we call them civilizational Christians. So there's a growing population of Muslims that are civilizational Muslims. And when you speak about Islam, or their attitudes towards Islam, the answers are very similar. And the attitude is, look, religion is a personal thing. You can have your Islam, I have my Islam. In your Islam, you pray 5 times, good for you. In my Islam, I have my connection to God is in my heart. He knows what I feel. So, this is not something that you should be forcing on me. I can figure it out for myself. And slowly but surely, this category of people, they're good people. I'm not, as we hear that, it sounds disturbing to a practicing Muslim. These are good people. But they never really had a real reason to practice their religion, because their religion was only given to them as a culture. And because the culture of the world changed, they could say, well, I don't talk like my mom or my dad or my grandfather used to. I don't use the same technology as them anymore. So I don't have to follow the same religious practices. That's for the older generation. Times have changed, right? So this is a very large population of Muslims. Sometimes they have very serious doubts about Islam itself, but they don't say it. And they don't say it because if they say it, their mother will have a heart attack. So they keep it inside. Their mother will say, go Jum'ah time, Jum'ah time, Jum'ah time. And so they'll go to Jum'ah, and they're sitting there, why am I sitting here? It doesn't make any sense. I just want to get back to work. But I'm here because my mom or my dad or my brother or whoever, or everybody from the office is going, I'll go too, but I don't really care. So these are the Muslims on the edge. And this is a very, very large population of Muslims. They're a very large population of Muslims. Okay. The second category is Muslims seeking answers. These are Muslims who used to be on the edge, like the first group, but something woke up inside them. And they decided, no, I want to be consciously Muslim. I want to know about my religion. I feel like this is the truth and I want to understand it better. The problem with this group of Muslims is that they wish to learn about Islam, but because they're coming from the edge, the language they speak, the language that they're used to, the culture that they're used to is almost like the non-Muslim cultures. So they have a very hard time adjusting in Islamic environments. So even when they want to learn about Islam, they feel a little bit awkward coming into a masjid and sitting in a halaqah. because this is not, they've never sat in something like this before. This is not their scene. They're very comfortable in the lobby of a hotel. They're very comfortable even at a bar, but they're a little bit awkward inside the masjid or the Islamic convention, or if they see too many beards and too many hijabs, they get a little intimidated. Like, these guys are all much more Islamic than I'm just starting, and they're already super level 10, and I'm basically at 0. So they feel like they don't know where to begin. They also feel like the rest of the Muslims who are practicing, they judge them a lot. So even though they want to learn, they feel judged, and they feel they don't fit. So they are left with only one choice. They're going to find their Islam online. So instead of finding Islam physically in a masjid, in a halaqah or somewhere else, they're going to go online and search and find videos. And then, of course, whoever they end up liking, they'll watch more and more of their content. That's what's happening with this second group. So the first group was Muslims on the edge, and the second group is Muslims that are seeking. Muslims that are seeking. Now, there's a third group. This third group, and there are more groups, but I'm only talking about 3 groups. There are many more groups, but I wanted to focus in this talk. So the third group, I will say, is Muslims with harsh views. This is what I will call them, Muslims with harsh views. So what happens is somebody was seeking, and they found online somebody who's teaching Islam, and they started, hey, this makes sense. And they started listening to them and listening to them and listening to them. And when they listened to them, they said, this is the right Islam. This person has the right aqidah. This person has the right understanding of Sharia. They have the right understanding of Sunnah. So they give their complete trust to this the person they're following, this influencer online, the sheikh online, whoever, or a group. And then they developed a view that this is the right way and everybody else is wrong. Everybody else is going to Jahannam. These are the only people that are saved. And it's on every issue. It's not even like overall, on every single issue. So it could be like, for example, they develop an idea about how long the beard should be. Tulul lihya, for example, right? Now, if somebody doesn't fit their definition of the length of the beard, they are hatab Jahannam. They are made for, this is a inkaru sunnah, this is tariqus sunnah, this is, and it maybe even, wajibul darb, something. Like, they're going to develop those harsh views. Their views could be about the rights of the wife. There could be about the beard. It could be about clothing. It could be about the definition of halal and haram. It could be anything, but they start developing very, very harsh views. And because they develop harsh views, these people are not fun to live with. So they develop a lot of problems in their family and among their friends. They become more and more isolated, okay? Because their family sees them as too extreme. So now I've given you 3 groups of people. These 3 populations exist in the millions and millions and millions. This is not one person. Each one of these is hundreds of millions of people.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.